earlier this season between these two clubs, November 13th. Here at Indiana, Pacers won 110-107. That's the game that saw Patrick Ewing and Detlef Schrempf get involved in that early fight. Both were thrown out. Knicks over the Pacers at the Garden. That needed a John Starks three-point shot at the end of regulation after the Knicks had a big lead. They blew the lead and then were able to win in overtime. And the Knicks, led by Ewing, won the last meeting at the Garden on the 20th of January. Now for the starting lineups. Let's go to the public address.
At the other forward, 6'9", 245 from Virginia Union, number 34, Charles Oakley. At center, 7 feet, 240 from Georgetown, number 33, Patrick Ewing. At one guard, 6'3", 205 from St. John's, number 13, Mark Jackson. And at the other guard, 6'6", 210 from Tennessee Senators, number 21, Gerald Wilkins. The head coach, Pat Riley, assisted by Dick Harder, Paul Silas, and Jeff Van Gundy, and trainer Mike Saunders, the New York Knicks. Forward, 6'8", 225 from Auburn, number 45, John Carson. At the other forward, 6'10", 245 from Texas, number 41, Lonzo Hamilton. At center, 7'1", 250 from Kansas, number 54, Greg Riley. At one guard, 6'2", 175 from Baylor, number 4.
Well, for the New York Knicks, this is a difficult stretch. They play 3 games over the next 4 days, including 2 against the Chicago Bulls. So the Knicks practiced for 3 hours Monday, went through a 2.5-hour workout yesterday. Earlier, John asked Pat Riley, what are his hopes for the second half of the season?
This second half of the season, they're going to have to really plant their feet and make a major breakthrough to another level of play. And I'm talking about if they have any aspirations at all.
For the officials, Hugh Evans, Jack Neese, and Hank Armstrong working the game tonight. That pass was thrown poorly. Ewing able to recover. And Wilkins fired. Last touch by the Knicks.
Reggie Miller did a very interesting thing while running at Wilkins as if he's going to submarine him running by him. That's very distracting to a shooter. Very hard to keep your concentration when a player does that.
Michael Williams putting the move on and then throws it away. So the Knicks will take over. Turnovers a problem for the Pacers last night. Bob Hill called the game against Orlando last night the Pacers' worst game of the season. They committed 16 turnovers in the first half, although they did pull it out. Xavier McDaniel giving the Knicks a 2-0 lead.
Knicks are going to have to take toughness pills, which is undoubtedly why Riley pushed them so hard the last 2 days. They've been off for 1 week. It's very hard to be sharp.
Sal Thompson has tied the game at 2. Here's Ewing getting down, beating Dreiling and Thompson down court.
Well, that could happen all night. Dreiling doesn't have the gifts to deal with Ewing. The team has been very successful with Dreiling, however, at starting center, but I can't see him dealing with Patrick Ewing.
A rare offensive move by Greg Dreiling. And the game is tied at 4. Since Dreiling has been inserted into the starting lineup with Rick Smits coming off the bench, the Pacers have won 5 and lost 1. Foul called on Chuck Person. It's a non-shooting affair. You may recall last year when Indiana was successful in the second part of the season. Dreiling was in the starting lineup. He will not kill you with his offensive flair. Person comes over, and the foul is called as they double up. Dreiling raising his hand, and let's see how Jack Neese is calling. It is Person with his second.
Yes, he tried to sneak around and blindside Ewing and shook him up a little bit while committing the foul. But Dreiling, Marv, last night against Orlando, played 20 minutes, didn't take a shot.
Beautiful move by McDaniel. Knicks lead by the score of 6-4. Dreiling will do the little things. He'll set good picks. He'll play aggressively as he comes up high to try and set a pick to unleash Michael Williams. And he'll rebound, and he'll lose the ball.
He does it all. Part of the rationale, by the way, of sitting Rick Smits, two things. First of all, he's got some tendonitis, but Bob Hill wants to get Smits moments later in the game, later in the 48 minutes. And Xavier McDaniel giving Person a lot to think about in the early going.
It's the Knicks 8 and the Pacers 4. And Person with his first shot attempt. Oakley with the rebound, and the Knicks with the numbers. Jackson, one bounces Wilkins off the spin, and Dreiling with the rebound.
Gerald thought about giving it back to Jackson, but he got distracted.
One other factor, John, with Dreiling in the lineup, it makes for more shot opportunities for people like Person and Miller, who were not getting as many as they would have liked. Reach-in called on Oakley because Rick Smits needs his shots.
Similar to what Xavier McDaniel found as a problem in Phoenix. There were too many offensive players, and he was kind of lost in the mix. This big guy at 7'4" has a big future in the NBA, and it's just taking time for him to develop as quickly as they want. With him coming off the bench now, feeling as he will be more effective.
LaSalle Thompson. Another man who is back in the starting lineup and has played well. 8-6 the score. Knicks with the lead. But in talking to several of the Indiana Pacers, Ewing with the drop step move. Knicks lead by the count of 10-6. They say certainly the changes with the lineup have helped. And Reggie Miller lost it. But they feel the major reason, as we mentioned before, Dreiling as a starter, and Indiana's 5-1 with Rick Smits. They were 15-28, but several of the Pacers and the coaching staff discounts that. Thompson with the steal. They feel it's really a matter of the club coming together and the fact that they're playing better defensively recently more than anything else.
Well, what Hill points out is that Dreiling gets the other man, the other big man, to get out of the block, out of the low position, and that's his great value. He's very physical.
Jumping out for the steal. The Knicks have a 4-on-2.
Knows how to party right. Please use good sense when you drink and know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser. Knicks getting good ball movement on one sequence here in the first quarter. Around the perimeter to Patrick Ewing. A most comfortable area for him down low. Dreiling didn't keep him away from the low post that he wanted, and he succeeded.
Xavier McDaniel has opened up on fire. He's hit his first 4 from the floor. The Knicks 12, Indiana 6. Person guarded by McDaniel. Michael Williams. And Ewing with the rebound. Nice pass from Jackson. Charles Oakley extends to a 14-6 lead. Right before the All-Star break last Thursday, Mark Jackson came up with a career-high 19 assists against Houston. Pretty backdoor play. And Reggie Miller's layup, the end result.
Oh, you love those bounce passes inside the foul line. They're so effective. Defenders can't deflect them either.
McDaniel won't count. Hank Armstrong with the foul call before the shot. Chuck Person again, a pushing foul. That's 3 on Person.
What a nightmare for the Pacers to have Person in early foul trouble. He's the one who threw that gorgeous pass. Hey, that was some move by Miller. He hung in the air while he went sailing by the hoop.
So Chuck Person, scoreless, sits down. Nice play. And again, it's McDaniel. He's 5 for 5 for 10 points. George McLeod, the 3-year player from Florida State, has come on, replacing Chuck Person.
I mean, Person's gone now, it would appear, till the second half. What a loss.
Wilkins picks up his first. As Chuck Person averaging 18 per game and always the long-range threat.
The one bad foul he made was sneaking around on Ewing off the ball. That was costly now because he's on the bench. And it's a shame. He's a very important man to this team, to say the least.
There's Thompson. LaSalle Thompson, 10-year man out of the University of Texas. Played only 17 minutes last night in Orlando. Ewing. Oh, he's crunched by Dreiling. So that is the first on Dreiling, and it sends Patrick Ewing to the line.
Well, that play comes about, again, because of Mark Jackson's ability to break down a defense and get inside the foul line. He got off a gorgeous pass, too, to Patrick Ewing. A catchable pass with great deception.
Crowd reacts as Detlef Schrempf trots over to the scorer's table.
Makes the lineup, number 11, Detlef Schrempf.
Replacing Dreiling, so Bob Hill going with the smaller lineup.
Interesting, no Smits to come in to play the big man, but Schrempf is so versatile, as is George McLeod, who'll be playing forward now. Mostly he plays guard, but Schrempf is a guy who can play 5 positions in the NBA, most unique.
He had a career-high 23 rebounds last night, along with the 26 points. Good follow by Thompson.
That's a shame for the Knicks because Thompson should not score like he is.
Ewing off the triple team. It will be Nick Ball. Last touch by Thompson. .6:22 to go, first quarter. Knicks with a 17-12 lead. Wilkins played by Miller. And off the spin, it's an offensive foul.
When Gerald puts his head down like that, that announces to the defense he's going to go because he's not obviously looking to pass or picking out a target, so the defender gets really ready for him.
John Starks getting set to come on. McLeod getting it back out. There's Michael Williams.
What gorgeous ball movement by the Pacers.
The Knicks lead it 17-14. Oakley changed his mind, and fortunately Ewing was able to read it. So often you see that go astray.
Charles is so unselfish, he would much rather pass the ball than shoot it.
The Knicks 19 and Indiana 14. Reggie Miller taking a hit. Foul committed by Xavier McDaniel. Here's John Starks replacing Gerald Wilkins, who picked up 2 fouls. Watch this pass from Oakley.
Yes, Charles had the shot. You can see he was wide open, but he felt Ewing had a higher percentage, and he was right.
Reggie Miller, 87% free throw shooter, one of the better foul shooters in the league.
Last year, he was a member of the Eastern Conference All-Star team, the first Pacer actually to make the All-Star team since '77. And Bob Hill told me before the game, part of the problems this team had first part of this season was Reggie Miller thinking about making the All-Star team. The offense got distorted, and he was thinking clearly about too much offense, and feeling is now that things will clear up. Funny how some players are getting a lot of trouble for acting like that, but Miller is such a fine player that the Pacers are very tolerant in his direction.
Starks beating the double team. McDaniel wide open. Rebounded by Schrempf. McLeod. Nice lead for Miller. The Knicks lead is now 1. And they'll jump it up. Aggressive defensive play by Indiana. Reggie Miller landing on top of his teammate Michael Williams.
The Knicks want inbounding and movement up the court quickly, but you've got to be careful. Particularly tough when you're running away from the ball to get it and continue a break. The defense knows you're doing that, so they crunched Starks.
Starks jumping against McLeod, and the Knicks control it despite the height advantage of George McLeod.
Yes, at 6'8".
And Ewing hit by Thompson. LaSalle Thompson called for his first. Indiana now over the limit. LaSalle Thompson spent 6 years with Sacramento. This is third full season with Indiana. Still a good banger underneath. His offense, though, has dropped off. Averaged only 7 points per game last year.
He had knee surgery early this season, too, which delayed his comeback into NBA conditioning, and that hurt him. But he's certainly been valuable lately. Part of the sacrificing member of this team. He doesn't need to have the ball to be effective and add something.
It's the Knicks by 3. Nice look as Reggie Miller. Rather, Detlef Schrempf was able to put it home. The lead pass thrown by Michael Williams. Knicks by 1. 4:25 to go in the first. Starks. And the tip by Ewing. Oakley came from out of bounds. It will be Indiana ball. The Knicks have won their last 4 on the road. They are now 12-11 away from home. Knicks coming at 30-16. Here's Trent. Rebounded by Ewing. Handles the ball well coming out of the pack. Look away pass from Jackson. Oh, Oakley firing was. It will be Pacer ball.
He threw the uncatchable pass.
Schrempf from Williams. Once again, Michael Williams with a nice setup.
See, a basket like that's too easy. That's got to eat it, Pat Riley. It's just too simple the way they got that ball inside.
Pacers now lead 22-21, and a timeout taken by the Knicks.
On the right, Domi is separated from Jim Agnew.
Agnew and Moeller got together originally, and Ty Domi, but they've been separated. Domi's adding to it.
Play stopped. The divider came out between the glass and the Vancouver zone. 9:18 to go in the first period. Rangers with a 1-0 lead.
Well, tomorrow at Madison Square Garden, Knicks back home to face the defending NBA champion Chicago Bulls. We'll be on the air starting with Knicks game night at 7 o'clock. And the Bulls with a record of 40-9 ran into some recent difficulties on the road trip. Oh, look out. LaSalle Thompson waving the ball, smashing with Xavier McDaniel. And the foul is called.
That's no act, Marv. The blood coming out of Xavier's eye area looks serious. Xavier is noticeably cool and under control, considering that unnecessary elbow swinging by Thompson.
Although he is now glaring in the direction of Thompson, and words are now being exchanged.
See, if Thompson was wise, Marv, he'd go over and apologize to the guy. And he's not being belligerent, but he's not doing anything. I mean, when you open a guy's face up like that and blood's pouring out, it's wise to go over and say you're sorry. I mean, that's terrible.
Knicks trainer Mike Saunders will accompany Xavier McDaniel back to the dressing room. And, well, with all the discussion concerning Magic Johnson and all the questions concerning the possibility of a player bleeding, here is a prime example. And the NBA has some new rules implemented concerning players who might be bleeding.
This trainer's wearing surgical gloves, I believe.
All right, here's Mark Jackson. And the Knicks now lead 23-22. Also, another addition, the fact that the game would immediately be stopped when blood is drawn. It counts, and the foul Rick Smits has come on for the first time. Oakley called for the foul. Here's Anthony Mason checking in.
Tremp at 6'10", can hit you with that jump shot, drive, or go into that fadeaway basket. What a shot, what a touch. Softly done by Detlef.
3 minutes to go, first quarter. And Indiana now leading it by the score, 25-23. Jackson and Starks now in the backcourt. Kiki Vandeweghe has replaced Xavier McDaniel. And Patrick Ewing to the line. Foul by Rick Smits.
Well, the Knicks isolated Ewing lower left side, left him alone to avoid the double teaming. And he went to work and drew the foul on Rick Smits, a situation that Rick has faced throughout his career, getting in foul trouble early. Patrick way short on that foul shot. He called his appearance in the All-Star game hardly a workout the other day. Played 17 minutes, didn't feel he got pushed at all.
Ewing is now 4 for 6 from the line. And Indiana leads by 1. Jackson able to recover. Early entrance for Kiki Vandeweghe, who had been playing very well prior to the All-Star break.
That was a great move by Ewing, though. It was a change.
Starks off the steal for Jackson. Knicks lead 26-25.
Jackson did that over 6'10" strength.
Good fake by McLeod, and he drew the foul. It's called on Mason.
Defenseman who's
George McLeod came into the NBA as a shooter, but last year only 37% from the field. 2 years ago, 31%. We discussed this the last time the Knicks and the Pacers played. At one point, the Pacers saw McLeod as a 6'8" point guard along the lines of a Magic Johnson, but that did not work out for this #1 draft pick back in 1989.
He's 31% now, and that's the only criticism, if you will, that Bob Hill has about him. He loves his development, calls him the team's best passer. And like Schrempf, he's versatile, can play many positions.
2 minutes.
Just under 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Ewing draws the foul, yes, and it counts. Beautiful fake by Patrick Ewing. Rick Smits with the foul, and Ewing to the line.
Smits' problem, here's Ewing as a forward. Now he pops in down low, and he just can't keep Ewing from the position he wants. And that's one of his problems. Strength and combativeness, a combative attitude, which Ewing has and Smits doesn't have yet. And Dreiling coming back in now will have the job of keeping Ewing out another foot or 2 or 3. Just keep him out physically from that low position he wants.
Vern Fleming has checked in for the first time. Ewing with a 3-point play. He has 13. The Knicks lead 29-27. Minute 45 to go in this first quarter. Miller from downtown. Reggie Miller with a 3. He's shooting 35% from 3-point range this season.
He's had 9 in the last 3 games. He's red hot.
McLeod with the steal. 3-on-2. Able to dish off to Fleming. Indiana 32 and the Knicks 29.
Hey, what a pass by George McLeod setting up Fleming.
Coming up on 1 minute to go in the first quarter. Jackson's pass deflected. Miller ahead of the field. Good run by Indiana.
Good defense. And those are the turnovers that Pat Riley spoke about yesterday in the New York papers that have driven this team crazy. Costly turnovers that turn into baskets.
Starks for 3. Yes. So John Starks able to answer with a 3-pointer. And the Knicks trail 34 32. 40 seconds to go in the quarter. Jackson picks up the foul.
Mark Jackson, his first personal.
So for Mark Jackson, his first. And the Knicks over the foul limit, so Vern Fleming to the line.
Vern in his 8th season now with the Pacers, not playing that well of late. Bob Hill feels that he's tired. He told me before the game, and he says Vern's had a career that has been plagued with losing. He said he's probably only won about 36% of the games he's ever played in as a pro, and he said he just feels it's getting him down. But Hill was very sympathetic as he expressed that, though. He feels sorry for Fleming being in a losing situation all the time as an NBA player. But that's Fleming's problem, to work out of it and get positive and help turn this thing around if he can.
Here's Vandeweghe. Indiana 35, the Knicks 34. 25 seconds to go in the first quarter. Vern Fleming was bothered by back problems earlier this season. He spent some time in the starting lineup when Michael Williams was not playing well. Shot clock is down to 5. Down to 3. Fleming. Final seconds of the first quarter. Starts from center court. After 1 at Market Square in Indianapolis. Pacers 35. The Knicks 34.
Pass over Mark Jackson. That's the height advantage.
Nice play by Wilkins. The look away from Jackson. McDaniel. Indiana Pacers lead the New York Knicks 35-34 after 1 quarter. The Pacers have certainly turned it around in recent games, and earlier John talked about the improvement with Indiana coach Bob Hill.
Well, the All-Star team was a big distraction for us this year, and I think we had too many guys concerned about making the All-Star team, which created problems on the team, very quiet problems. We didn't have any major problems with them. We just had a lot of situations where guys forced themselves too much on offense and took shortcuts defensively and to stay in games. And but once the voting was over and we made this last lineup change, was the 8th of the season, I mean, we've won 5 out of 6 games, and it's the chemistry's been great, and guys are basing their decisions on winning games.
Bob Hill on the subject of the recent turnaround by his Pacers. Starks with a wild shot going to the left hand, and the Knicks take a 36-35 lead.
Just a phenomenal adjustment by him in going to the left hand.
Substitutions for both clubs. Greg Anthony has come on for the first time. That was deflected out by the Knicks. And a rookie out of Iona, out of Long Island City. There's Xavier McDaniel, who is back on the bench. Sean Green, wearing number 23, has come on for the first time. Tim McCormick getting set to check in. Xavier McDaniel was hit by the flying elbows of LaSalle Thompson and was cut. Went back to the dressing room for repairs and apparently is all right. And Xavier was off to a sensational start. Hit his first 5 shots, sitting down with 10 points. Patrick Ewing departs for Tim McCormick. Ewing, the high man, with 13. Bob Hill also inserting Dale Davis. Rookie was just recently activated from the injury list. The last game against the Knicks, he popped his shoulder and sat out for a while. Kiki Vandeweghe extends to a 3-point Knick lead. Dale Davis, #1 draft pick out of Clemson. This is Green, guarded by Starks. Now Schrempf for Fleming. Here's Green from deep. So Sean Green hits on his first field goal attempt. Sean Green, a big guard at 6'5". He can score, average 23 points as a senior at Iona, among Iona's all-time leading scorers. This after playing his freshman year at North Carolina State. Green called for the foul. Sean Green grew up in the same neighborhood that produced Vern Fleming, Long Island City.
Bob Hill is very high on Sean Green. He describes him as a guy who can do it all. and he's been very impressed with his practice habits, and that's resulted in him getting more playing time.
Anthony. And McCormick on the rebound. Knicks lead 38-37 for early second quarter. Mason feeling for Davis. There's Green. And Trent made contact with Anthony. Tough physical first half.
Tough matchup for McCormick. Shrimp has a lot of movement potential in a one-on-one matchup with McCormick.
Illegal defense called on the Knicks. That's the first violation. This is George McLeod returning, replacing Rick Riley. A lot of shuffling at both ends in this first half.
Very small lineup now for the Pacers.
And the foul called on McCormick. That'll put Dale Davis at the free throw line. Dale Davis, a Pacer the Knicks do not mind seeing at the line, shooting only 54% on 40 for 74. The Indiana Pacers are one of the better free throw shooting teams in the league. And if you subtract Dale Davis, I believe they'd be number one.
Dale Davis, the strong rookie, they're very delighted naturally to have him back. He dislocated his left shoulder in New York on January 20th against the Knicks. Returned last night in Orlando. Made a difference in that game on the boards. Very strong guy up front. And he moved into the starting lineup rather quickly after he settled his contract problems.
Vern Fleming able to keep it alive. Here's Davis. Iron bricks. Green. Pacers lead 39-38.
And they are doing this without Chuck Person, who has not played at all in the second quarter with the early 3 fouls.
Knicks have Starks and Anthony at the guards. McCormick with Vandeweghe and Mason up front. And Mason able to get to it. Beats McCormick. There's a Tim McCormick on the scorebook. And the Knicks now lead 40-39. Foul on Anthony, tying up Fleming. Both clubs shooting well to this point. Indiana 62%, 16-26. Here's Gerald Wilkins back, replacing John Starks, who leads with 5 points.
What will disturb Pat Riley is many of those baskets the Pacers are scoring are inside the foul line, which means they're getting beaten just like that. Good teams don't allow good shooting inside the foul line.
Dale Davis giving the Pacers a 1-point edge. Now the Knicks with Anthony and Wilkins at the guards. Wilkins. Green. Stopped by Anthony. Gets it down to Vandeweghe. Good play by McLeod, although he's called for the foul. Took the short bucket from Vandeweghe, and Kiki will go to the line.
Of course, whenever Patrick Ewing gets a rest, it seems the Knicks miss him. Although, in game 1 here earlier this season, Patrick went out early, as we discussed in the pregame, and the Knicks did rally and played very well without him. But they're missing him now. Mason is not in a good groove offensively. He's coming out now for Charles Oakley.
Patrick Ewing with 13 points. So Vandeweghe with the 2 free throws to give the Knicks a 42-41 lead. McLeod for 3. And it will be Nick Ball. The Knicks have won 2 out of 3 against the Pacers this season. However, here at Market Square Arena, Pacers have won 3 of the last 4 against the Knicks. Anthony. And it will be Indiana ball.
Those are the shots that Greg Anthony's got to learn how to make at a much higher percentage. And he knows it. He's working hard at it.
Shooting only 36% from the field, but he has been spending hours with Knicks assistant coach Paul Silas shooting from that particular angle because he knows that's where he'll be open for the most part. Here's Miller open for 3. And Miller gets it back and bangs it off the back of Wilkins. Good play.
Huge story in Sunday's news about the diary of Greg Anthony since he joined the Knicks. It's kind of a day-by-day thing, and he pointed out how Silas has been working with him, wouldn't let him leave until he made 8 in a row. Silas said, I have all afternoon.
Did you tell your boss you're quitting?
No, I'm telling him on Monday.
Got any plans yet?
You?
No celebrity spokesman.
I'm opening a restaurant.
Corner-style music, including the Platters and the Cadillacs. Tickets available at the Garden Box office and all Ticketmaster locations. To charge, call 212-307-7171.
Detlef Schrempf giving Indiana 43-42 lead. 6:40 to go in the first half. Marv Albert with John Andres from Market Square Arena, Indianapolis, Indiana. Schrempf jumping out on a switch. Xavier McDaniel back on the floor. Rebounded by Schrempf. And McCormick off the board. Good short stint by Tim McCormick here in the second quarter. Foul called on the Pacers, but Tim will sit down. Patrick Ewing makes his return.
3 team fouls on Indiana.
Foul called on Davis.
Knicks doing very well in turning the turnovers of the Pacers into points for them. Almost 2-1 in favor of the Knicks in that department. Yes, Tim McCormick added something, and I think when Pat Riley goes to him or any of his bench players, you just want them to add something, and that's what Tim did.
Good hands by McLeod breaking it up, but the quickness of Wilkins recaptures.
The exception of McDaniel, the Knicks are very ineffective from the perimeter. Make that the exception of McDaniel and Mark Jackson, who hits the second jump shot.
Knicks lead by 1. Schrempf. Detlef Schrempf very active in the second quarter. He now has 11 points along with 6 rebounds coming off the theatrics last night in Orlando. His fadeaway 18-footer at the buzzer won it for the Pacers. Offensive foul.
Patrick Ewing.
Called for the foul.
Michael Williams.
Michael Williams is back. So Williams and Miller at the guard. Schrempf with McLeod and Thompson up front. Sal Thompson with a wild shot.
He's dreaming to take a shot like that.
Ewing getting down. Schrempf is with him. Ewing to the reverse. Just under 5 minutes remaining first half. McLeod. Strong move by McLeod. Oakley pitch to Wilkins. And Mark Jackson says, let's regroup.
Let's put some sense into this attack, Mark is indicating with his facial expression.
Oakley with the rebound. Now the Pacers on the run. So the Knicks get it back. Indiana 45 and the Knicks 44.
Knicks have to reestablish Ewing as the force that he should be against LaSalle Thompson.
Shot clock at 6. pass from Jackson, setting up Oakley. 4 points for Oakley. Knicks by 1.
Bob Hill has to be delighted his team is doing so well without the services of Person in the second quarter. Someone's asleep on the Knicks defensive end for another easy one.
Yes, McLeod giving the Pacers a 1-point lead. Now Ewing back to the line. Here's John Starks returning, replacing Gerald Wilkins.
14 fouls on the Pacers. Patrick Ewing.
Indiana with his 4th team foul.
A little patchwork got Xavier McDaniel back into the lineup after he shed some blood. Compliments of LaSalle Thompson, who swept a rebound and turned his arms around and elbow clipped Xavier.
That was followed by some glaring from Xavier McDaniel. No apology offered up by LaSalle Thompson.
Maybe he'll write him a note.
Well, you never know what has gone on prior. As Trent is able to hit. There may have been an incident earlier in which, I'm just guessing here, LaSalle Thompson could have been the recipient from Xavier McDaniel. He's had a few episodes during his career.
That's true, Marv, but when the blood spills, I think it would be right to say something.
Starks for 3. And here's McDaniel. Yes. 12 points for the X-Man, who has shot very well. He's 6 for 8 from the field. Knicks lead by 1. Just under 3 minutes to go in the first. Thompson for the hook shot. Air ball.
Oh, he's in his own world out there.
McLeod has played well, gets to the rebound. Indiana Pacers have won 5 of the last 6, but they're 9 under the 500 mark. LaSalle Thompson giving the Pacers a 1-point lead. Knicks have won 7 of the last 8, 8 of 10. They're 30-16 on top in the Atlantic, 2.5 in front of Boston. Knicks take a timeout.
Players and features the game's megastars, including Patrick Ewing. The team's first appearance is at the Olympic qualifying tournament, the Basketball Tournament of the Americas, in Portland, Oregon, June 27th through July 5th.
Well, Patrick Ewing and John Starks were representatives of the Knicks at this weekend's NBA All-Star Weekend in Orlando. And by golly, Marv got around as well, covering all the bases with his family. Oh, that's a familiar face, Marv.
Oh, look at that. And I found that Mickey was all right, but I thought you and Goofy particularly hit it off.
We look more comfortable than you and Goofy do, I must say.
I myself have a lot in common with Goofy.
Big of you to admit it, Marv.
Indiana leads by 1. And Gerald Wilkins gets it back out. Knicks go to a 3-guard alignment. Starks, Jackson, and Wilkins, along with Ewing and McDaniel. Check with Nick trainer Mike Saunders on the condition of Xavier McDaniel after taking that shot from LaSalle Thompson. Patrick Ewing with a pretty touch. Knicks now lead 52-51. Mike said no stitches required, and Xavier is all right, and obviously has not lost the shooting touch.
And that was an example, as we were speaking earlier, of surgical gloves were used to deal with Xavier. Whenever there's blood involved, that's what the NBA trainers do. They put on the gloves.
Trent fouled, hit by McDaniel. No, they say Jackson called. So that's number 2 on Jackson. And Detlef Schrempf to the line. He's an 84% free throw shooter. Schrempf leading Indiana with 13 points. As you see, he's averaging 15 a game. Won the NBA Sixth-Man Award last season, and certainly a candidate once again.
No question. He was their leading rebounder last season. This is a guy off the bench now, and he is their leading rebounder again this year. He was the 5th Pacer to ever record 20-plus rebounds and 20-plus points in the same game. And it was the 8th time in Pacer history this happened last night.
Both clubs cooling off considerably in the second quarter. The Knicks only 7 for 22 from the field. Pacers lead by 1 with 1:20 to go in the first half. Hard driving move by Starks, gave it up. And Ewing will go back to the line.
Ewing so displeased with himself by not making that shot. Nicely set up by Starks, who he thanks for the good pass. Starks showing that tremendous ability to get around people. Sets up Patrick beautifully, and Patrick bothered by Shrimp from behind.
Ewing 7 for 9 from the line.
Well, the last game in New York, January 20th, that day, there was all kinds of stories in the papers. The Knicks had come off 2 losses against Milwaukee and Cleveland at their places about how Pat Riley felt the Knicks and Patrick Ewing in particular were not getting foul calls. And the thing has really changed since then. Ewing has not been in his foul trouble nearly as much, and the Knicks have been getting more foul opportunities. Perhaps it's coincidence, but that was a big story at that time in late January.
Oh, nice pass. And the tip by Smith. Indiana 55 and the Knicks 54. Are you saying the moral of the story is that the coaches should complain?
Well, in that case, Pat Riley felt it was justified, and he made it clear that he was just talking from the gut. He said, Abdul-Jabbar, and now Patrick Ewing, who he respects as a hard worker. He felt Patrick wasn't getting his fair share of calls, and he spoke out quite loudly, risking fine, of course, and being somewhat critical, obviously, of the officiating, but it was heard around the league.
Foul was committed by McLeod, sending McDaniel to the line.
I don't think Xavier could miss a foul worse than that.
Coming up at halftime, Bob Penn, who's going to put pressure. Sports Desk. Look at all the highlights from around the NBA and the NHL. And we'll take a look at our first half highlights.
Xavier needs a haircut. Does keep it closely cropped, and a little growth coming out there now.
A little rest of the All-Star break. Game is tied at 55. 40 seconds to go in the first half. Pacers setting up with a weave, and then Shrimp fires one. Rebounded by Wilkins. Ewing. Crowd looking for a travel. He lost it. Down to 20 seconds remaining in this first half. Knicks and Pacers tied at 55. Both clubs shot well in the first quarter. They have dipped considerably here in the second.
Williams has superior speed. The Knicks better be wary of him now.
McLeod for 3. George McLeod from downtown. Final second. Starks.
You made me.
Percentages. Indiana with 56% from the field on 24 for 43. The Knicks only 43% off the floor shooting. Second quarter. Knicks with the edge off the boards. 24-19.
Whistle for an offside. A free throw on the 1:02 to go.
9 of 11 from the foul line.
Last couple of games for the Knicks against Houston and Miami, they have shot the ball over 50%. So back to basics here. Putting the ball in the basket at a higher percentage is also what the Knicks have to do in the second half.
Indiana trying to get Chuck Person involved. Played only the 5 minutes of the first quarter and then sat down after collecting his 3rd foul.
Oakley turnover.
Riley firing one off the backboard.
Well, that's the kind of move you usually see a big man like that commit the offensive foul. That was one good thing that didn't happen for the Pacers.
McDaniel guarded by Person. Here's Jackson.
The Pacers will sacrifice. Beat us from the outside. They gave Mark Jackson that opportunity to shoot while clustering around Ewing.
Michael Williams. Riley knocked it away, but Oakley's right on it. Williams with the steal. Good play by Michael Williams.
Leads the NBA in steals.
And had a terrific game in the first meeting between these two clubs. 18 assists to tie an Indiana franchise record. Shot clock at 4. Person. That's the 24-second buzzer, but Person got it off on time. He's now 0 for 4 for the game. Rugged play at both ends.
You see, Mark Jackson tried a very difficult pass to Ewing, who was a long way from the basket. Not a wise decision, because had Ewing caught it, he still had too much to do before he got close to the basket.
Well, 2 minutes have gone by on this. Scored.
Those are the two turnovers for the Knicks now, have denied them shot opportunities.
Foul called on McDaniel.
His first personal. His second personal foul, first week foul.
Person off the fake, and that is Chuck Person's first field goal. So it's a 5-point Indiana lead.
Be interesting to see how McDaniel plays. Will he remember that shot he took from LaSalle Thompson?
Gerald Wilkins cuts it to a 3-point Indiana advantage. Michael Williams. And he was hit. Jackson called for his third. For those of you who may have just tuned in, early in the game, LaSalle Thompson, after he hauled down a rebound, swinging the elbows, caught Xavier McDaniel. Blood was drawn. McDaniel was taken back to the Knick locker room for repairs. Did not need any stitches, but as you can see, is wearing the Band-Aid over the right eye and is apparently all right. Words were not exchanged, but there were glares between LaSalle Thompson and Xavier McDaniel. Thompson jumping out, and it causes the travel. So Gerald Wilkins called for steps.
Third turnover here in less than 3 minutes of the third quarter.
The Knicks have led by as many as 8. Indiana with a 5-point lead. That represents their biggest of the night. Person lost it. Good play by Jackson. Crowd reacts, looking for a travel. Here's Oakley. Loose ball foul. Called on McDaniel. Next man called for a push in battling for that rebound.
Knicks are in a very down period now in the third quarter. They're struggling to find some semblance of order and continuity out there.
Michael Williams and Reggie Miller at the guards. LaSalle Thompson, Greg Browning, Chuck Person in the front court. Person looking to shoot his way back, so he's hit his last 2. Indiana leads by 7. Again, Williams with the steal. Miller from Williams. And the Knicks will talk it over. Timeout being called. An 11-2 run by Indiana. They now lead 66-57.
Punched and knocked down by Greg Adams.
The original penalty was going to be on Darren Turcotte for taking down Bore after some threat tonight. He's taken some bad shots, but he's made a few too. Charles Oakley better get the hand up next time.
Thompson has 12 points.
Everything was really backed up.
It's an offensive threat tonight. He's taken some bad shots, but he's made a few too. Charles Oakley better get the hand up next time.
Thompson has 12 points. And he's hit 6 out of 9. Here's McDaniel. Shot clock running down. He had to get it up. Oakley. And that's a goaltend. The basket will count. John Starks getting set to check back in. Knicks looking for some firepower. Now trail 68-59. Person setting a pick. McDaniel switches off. Now it's a mismatch. Jackson guarding Person. McDaniel over to double team.
Boy, Person looks like he wants to make up for that 19 minutes on the bench in the first half. He's pumping that shot up every time.
Ewing.
Knicks are getting 4 shots to go along with the 4 costly turnovers here in the third quarter.
Browning sets the pick. Ewing staying with Miller. .620 to go in the third. And it will be Nick Ball. That's called a leg block.
Well, the Knicks right now, as we look at the Dutch boy in the paint numbers, enjoying 46 points from the front line. The Pacers with only 37. But they're coming on strong now with Chuck Person back in the third quarter.
Ewing with a second shot opportunity. Indiana 68, the Knicks 61.
Just robbing them.
21 points for Patrick Ewing. Here's Michael Williams. Michael Williams in his 4th year out of Baylor. Had an outstanding playoff last season against the Boston Celtics. Originally a second-round pick of the Detroit Pistons. Oh, look out. Oakley hit the deck hard, but he's all right. And a foul called on Indiana. It's on Bryling. Here's Mason back, replacing McDaniel. Inchman leaves with 13.
Mason did not have a good first half. Didn't really play that much. Only 7 minutes, but he has had very fine moments against the Pacers this year. Pat Riley's trying to shake things up a little bit because the Knicks are flat on offense.
And again, the Indiana foul is called. It's Bryling. That's number 3 on Bryling. And the poor Knicks shooting continuing here in the third. 7 for 23 from the floor. In the second, only 3 for 10 in the third. Starks from deep. And Ewing uncontested. Well, he took a push. The basket counts and a foul. He was all by himself. And Reggie Miller made the contact.
Reflex foul by Miller, and I'm sure he hates himself for doing this because he knew there's no way in the position he was in he could stop Ewing. Just not a wise move by him at all. He has much disdain for Reggie Miller right now, I'm sure.
Here's Detlef Schrempf replacing Greg Bryling. So Bob Hill going back to the small lineup. Ewing seeking to complete the 3-point play. So the Knicks have come within 6. Indiana led by 11 a moment ago. Patrick Ewing has 24 points.
Starks doing some job until a foul is called on Reggie Miller. He fouled Miller, trying to deny him position. Starks playing very physically as Miller tried to post him.
The Knicks have picked up their 4th team foul. 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Williams. Mason played by Person. Schrempf guarding Oakley. And it's LaSalle Thompson on Patrick Ewing.
Boy, there's a war with Person and Mason. Wow, what a pushing session going on there.
Ewing with the fake. Yes. Patrick Ewing And the Pacers now by 4. Here's Schrempf. Picked off by Jackson. 3-on-2. Starks returns to Jackson, and he blew the layup. Recovered by Jackson, and hits the reverse. So the Knicks whipping to a good run here by the Knicks, and Indiana takes a timeout with 4:17 to go in the third.
Get a more time. Here's Amonte with the puck. Back pass to Graves. He moves in, slides it. It went off the skate of McLean. 2-on-1. Linden the other way, but we've got a penalty called on the Canucks. Back behind the play, an interference call on the Vancouver Canucks will give the Rangers their second power play of the game.
Hey, I'm Wayne Campbell, and I'm in a new Paramount movie called Wayne's World. And I'm your host with the Wayne's World Ranger Sweepstakes. Swing! Enter and win an evening for two at a Rangers game at the Garden.
Sporting Traditions, the 116th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, the world's largest canine competition with opening and closing night ceremonies. See all the hitting and fast-paced action from one of the hottest sports in the country, the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Plus, you can always catch the latest sports news, highlights of local scholastic sports coverage with MSG Sports Desk. February melts the winter cold with hot sports action on MSG Network, the best in the game.
Looking at that Person situation, he's dying to come back and be a factor in this game. He's such a competitor. And Anthony Mason has to meet Person with that competitive spirit. He's got to be just as competitive or even more so. And it also means Mason, who's so good underneath playing physically, has to come outside and present himself as a tough defender outside, because Person hurts you from the outside more so than he does inside.
Ewing is 10 for 13 from the line. So the Pacers now lead it 72-69. 3:45 remaining in the third. Reggie Miller. Indiana now by 5. Here's Starks. John Starks able to throw it home. 7 points to Starks. It will be Nick Ball down by 3. Knicks going with Starks and Jackson in the backcourt. Ewing with Oakley and Mason up front. So the matchup continues. LaSalle Thompson against Patrick Ewing. Starks, yes. John Starks catching fire. Indiana leads by 1. Person. Oh, Chuck Person taking the hard hit.
Charles Oakley draws his third.
Oakley called for the foul. That's his third.
Team fouls on New York. Chuck Person at the line for your Pacers.
And Person to the free throw line. A 72% foul shooter. He has dropped off.
Billy Knight was telling me, Billy Knight, the assistant coach to Bob Hill before the game, that Person is one of the most amazing competitors he's ever seen. Chuck being bothered now by a string mob. He's going to hand it to... No, he doesn't hand it to you. Billy Knight was saying that Person has to be slowed down during practice. He competes so hard. Said I actually have to tell him, Chuck, you don't have to play this hard in practice. Not necessary. Most unusual for a veteran NBA player to have that kind of attitude, but he said he is a wild competitor. And contrary to rumors that the Pacers were going to trade him, it appears that Chuck Person is a Pacer for his NBA career.
Well, that we don't know.
I mean, that's the current impression I draw anyway.
Well, they were shopping him. I think they made it clear that, and he made it clear that he does not want to be traded, but I don't know if you can say for sure that he will remain with the Indiana Pacers. He certainly has been part of many trade rumors, much speculation. 2.5 to go in the third, and Indiana leads 76-73. Have you just given him a permanent no-cut, John?
No, I'm just saying I thought he was going to be traded, but now the feeling is he's not going to be traded. Now that's the latest feeling.
Oakley with the save, and Jackson able to get to it. Knicks have it at 24. Chuck Person was the darling of this ball club last year for his performance against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. That's a hacking foul.
Yes, that one stupendous game in Boston, as I recall, that you worked at, I know. And he and Larry Bird just had a remarkable one-on-one matchup, and Person was magnificent.
Smith's called for the foul. Mason to the line. The rookie Dale Davis check back in for Indiana. Here's Burns Fleming. So Fleming and Miller now in the backcourt. Person up front with Smits and Davis. Mason only a 64% free throw shooter. Indiana 76 and the Knicks 74. 2 minutes to go in the third. Miller from Smits won't count. Offensive foul. Reggie Miller called for number 4.
How about John Starks' physical toughness on this play? Starks in the way of Miller, and he bounced back up with great vigor and got a lot of pats on the back from his teammates.
Rick Anthony has checked in, replacing Mark Jackson. Starks, yes, and that's from downtown, a three-pointer for Starks, and the Knicks take the lead. They were down by 11 earlier this third quarter. They now lead 77-76.
Oh, Starks is doing it once again against the Pacers. He's had 2 20-point games against them, including that astounding three-point shot that deadlocked the game and put the game into overtime at the Garden.
Ewing with the rejection of Davis. Remember, John Starks' offense had dropped down prior to the All-Star break. Mason is fouled.
Paul Silas will do a little work on Mason when he gets the ball down low. Forget that dribble, Anthony. Just go right up with it. That enabled the defenders to make it tough for him.
Number 4 on Smits. And there is Knick assistant Paul Silas, who has been doing quite a bit of work with Anthony Mason. Post-game interview several games back. Anthony talked of the hook shot that Paul Silas is working on during practice sessions, and we've seen signs of it from Mason.
Anthony Mason enjoyed his Knick career high against the Pacers here on November 13th when Ewing went out of that game after fisticuffs. Mason had a 15-point game.
Oh, Oakley with a strong box-out move, finding Starks, rebounded by Davis. The Knicks with a 2-point lead. And that last touch by the Knicks, George McLeod, who played well in the first half, is back on. Came on with Detlef Schrempf. 47 seconds to go in the third. Person. So Chuck Person with 10 points all here in the third. The game is tied at 78. Mason. Knicks getting open shots because of the double up on Ewing, but not able to convert.
Tough combination now with Mason and Oakley out there on the offensive end. Either player, a scorer.
Person playing the shot clock down. It is at 5. Fleming for 3. Final seconds. Starks from Oakley. Knicks lead by 2. Davis checking the clock. Did not realize time was running out. It won't count. Too late. So after 3, the Knicks lead the Pacers by the score of 80 to 78. Here's Here's another look. Dale Davis checking the clock and then decided to throw it up and hit.
Certainly hit his frustration well as he walked off the court.
That's the end of the third. We'll be back in a moment.
Nedved looks in. Boom finds the puck and starts up. Out to Messier. 3-1, Rangers leading it. 1:15 to go in the second. Leach moves in. Touch to the net. Got taken down. The shot went wide. Nothing called on the play. Canucks clear the zone.
Rangers have been attacking Randy Gregg tonight. They've had a lot of good chances and it really seemed like they're going to his side of the ice again as Patrick going at Gregg.
Gary Vaughn. Chris King with a takeaway, slid it right through the crease. Turcotte chases it down and shoots. Blocked in front. Gary's through. Patrick at the point. High shot knocked down. Saved by McLean. Kept in by Chris King. And swept out by the Canucks. Corey can't control the bouncing puck. He took himself offside. 39. Big in the second period.
Cleated blades that tenderize meat.
Makes it easy to use.
Yours for only $19.95.
Yeah.
800.
Ice dancing, all of these beautiful things. They watch the ski jump because they want to see some guy break his neck. Somebody who's interested.
I got to mention something about ski jumping. I did a story a few years ago, about 3 years ago, in Finland in the World Cup, and I was writing about two Austrian ski jumpers, and one was this guy named Ernst Vittori. I didn't know ski jumping from logboarding. This guy went off in Finland, in Lahti, Finland. He won the gold medal yesterday, by the way, in the Olympics. But when I saw him, he crashed. And, I mean, you talk about a crash. They thought this guy was dead. It was like his head is stuck in the snow. His skis are on two sides. His face is all cut up. They brought an ambulance right out under the thing. That is a tough sport.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by Mobile and new advanced formula Mobile One. And by MetLife. Get Met. It pays.
Getting set for the start of play in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks lead the Indiana Pacers 80-78. At Madison Square Garden tonight, Rangers leading Vancouver 3-1 in the second period. Here's Starks. He's had the hot hand. John Starks with 16 points, and the Knicks lead 82-78. 11 of his 16 coming in the second half. Kiki Vandeweghe getting set to check in. Shot clock at 5. Person guarded by Mason. Here's Schrempf, 1 on the 24. Oh, Charles Oakley owns the backboard.
In traffic rebound, the toughest kind to get.
10 rebounds for Oakley, 11 for Ewing.
Matter of fact, Marv, Oakley's been a double-figure rebounder in all 3 games coming in tonight against the Pacers.
Anthony took the shot from Fleming. And Greg Anthony to the foul line. Patrick Ewing will get a rest now. Here's Kiki Vandeweghe, so Charles Oakley moves to center. Ewing with 27 points. 8 for 16 from the field. 11 out of 14 from the foul line, along with 11 rebounds. Well, Friday at 7:30 following Ranger game night. The Rangers home taking on the New York Islanders right here on the MSG Network. The best in the game. Sam Rosen working along with Sal Red Light Messina, filling in for John Davidson, who was over in Albertville handling the color commentary along with Mike Emmerich for the Winter Olympics. How about Red Light Messina? He claims that he received an unbelievable amount of publicity as Schrempf was able to hit. Knicks lead by 4. Claimed that tonight's broadcast, his 1,200th consecutive Ranger broadcast. Now, has anybody checked this out? I mean, you know Sal. Starks rebounded by Dreiling.
Sal's been counting.
Yeah, right.
Since 72, I believe, is when he began, and he came up with the number 1,200.
I want to tell you, he's missed a couple along the way, John. He's also shown up on a number of occasions sick with laryngitis. Person throws it away.
He has missed a couple. You better be prepared with dates and time.
And when he has shown up with laryngitis, you actually can't tell the difference between his normal broadcast procedure. But 1,200 straight has to be the most insignificant milestone in the history of sports broadcasting.
A man who knows milestones is, well, I'm sure this is going to get back to Sal, and he'll have the proper response tomorrow.
Do you think so?
I think so, yeah.
Knicks 84, Indiana 80. Schrempf, and he's hit. So Detlef Schrempf will go to the foul line.
The Knicks treated Schrempf like he was the sixth man on the court for the Pacers, like no one was guarding him. No one expected him. The man is 6'10". He deserves respect, and then no one identified him as an offensive player.
Foul called on Vandeweghe, and Schrempf to the free throw line.
As soon as Ewing leaves the court, the Knicks get soft in the defensive area around the basket, and the Pacers wisely attacked it.
Schrempf 4 for 4 from the line. The Knicks lead 84-82. Knicks coming back from an 11-point deficit. They were down by 11 early in the third. Five on the 24. Down to 3, 2, Starks. Oh, what a move by John Starks. 1 second showing on the 24.
His explosiveness saved the day as the Knicks had nothing going there.
McLeod. And again, it is Oakley with the rebound. The Knicks lead at 86-82. Patrick Ewing getting set to return.
I can recall Bob Hill's words in New York before the Knicks met the Pacers. If we don't rebound, we lose. Vandeweghe. And the same thing is happening here now. This is a team that has been weak rebounding all season long. The Pacers suffer in that department.
6-point Knick lead. You can see the Knicks in command off the boards. Person forced into a tough shot by Vandeweghe, but Thompson is right there.
Got the lucky bounce, but if you go to the boards, you get the lucky bounce sometimes.
Knicks 88, Indiana 84. Reggie Miller getting set to come back on. Anthony to the driving hook. Nicely done by Greg Anthony. He has 4 points. Knicks lead 90-84.
Well, that was a throwback to the days of Dick Barnett with that deceptive change of pace move to the basket.
Four minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Away from the ball, the foul is called on Vandeweghe. It's a hold. Try to tie up Person. Now Oakley will sit down. Ewing returns. Charles Oakley with a very strong effort off the board.
Two periods complete at Madison Square Garden in the battle between two first.
Now gets back to defend against LaSalle Thompson. Offensive foul, says Jack Neese.
Offensive foul, LaSalle Thompson.
It's on Thompson.
Mason roughed up Thompson as he ran around him to get around the pick. And Thompson responded with what became a foul.
The Knicks lead by 6. Anthony, air ball. Good play by Anthony to poke it away, but it will be Indiana possession. Knicks with Ewing, Mason, Vandeweghe up front, Starks and Anthony in the backcourt. Thompson, this time going glass, 16 points for LaSalle Thompson. He's 8 for 12 from the field.
Ties his season high.
And the call against Indiana. And that is number 4 on Thompson. Non-shooting foul, only the second team foul committed by the Pacers. Ewing from deep. There's Michael Williams. White ball, says the official Hank Armstrong, meaning the home club, Indiana. The first the timeout is called. Just under 7 minutes to go.
Hydrogel for
Now, it makes him.
you play
Strange, something like.
That's right.
Yeah.
Call 1-800-765-NETS for greasy.
Can't do
LaSalle Thompson, and then he's tied up by Patrick Ewing, so they will jump it up.
I think the Knicks are trying to give LaSalle Thompson a little massage whenever possible. Ewing was laying all over him.
6 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. It's the Knicks 90, Indiana 86. Crowd of 12,574 here at Market Square. The capacity is 16,500. They average just under 12, and they'll jump it again. A bad toss by the official, Jack Neese. And the Knicks control.
Boy, Ewing was quick to that.
Shot clock at 10. Now to 5. One on the 24. Mason able to get it back. So again, a second opportunity for the Knicks.
Very important for Greg Anthony to grow now as a leader in the backcourt. Moments like this, very important for the Knicks.
Never knew where they.
Out of 14 from the line.
Times have changed. Early this season, it was Greg Anthony getting all the time in the latter part of a game. Now it's Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson back in the lineup for New York. Rick Riley for your Pacers.
Knicks now have a front court of Ewing, Vandeweghe, and Mason, Jackson and Starks. And the backcourt, Reiling has come on for Thompson. The Knicks lead 92-86, and Patrick Ewing has 29 points. Another standout performance for Ewing. Ball made away from the ball.
Patrick Ewing, his second
Ball on Ewing, that is only his second.
3 team fouls on New York.
And both clubs have 3 team fouls. Difficult stretch for Pat Riley and the New York Knicks. 3 games over the next 4 days, including 2 against the Bulls. A home and home at the Garden tomorrow, in Chicago on Saturday. Illegal defense call on the Knicks. That is their second violation. So Pacers will shoot the tee. Reggie Miller steps up to the line. The Knicks have gone to the line 26 times, and Reggie misses the technical. Reggie Miller, an 87% free throw shooter.
Just outside of the NBA's top 10.
Person and Vandeweghe in a battle, and it's called on Vandeweghe.
Rare moment with Vandeweghe speaking back to the official. Boy, when you consider all the action that goes on between big men, that's an unusual call.
Kiki Vandeweghe has played very aggressively defensively, and he has won his place back in the rotation. Now he's guarding Michael Williams. And a foul call. Again, it's Vandeweghe. So that is 4 on Vandeweghe, who's done a good job off the bench once again with 8 points.
For some reason, that reminded me, Marv. I was thinking one-on-one play. Magic Johnson in the All-Star game, as the game wound down, went into one-on-ones with Isaiah against him and Michael Jordan. It was interesting to me how neither Jordan or Isaiah chose to drive against Magic. They settled for the jump shot and missed, to give Magic, of course, the credit and the confidence that they were contained, you know. A thrilling moment that All-Star game was, though, with the play of Magic.
Coming up on 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. And the Knicks lead is 4. Ewing will go back to the foul line.
That is Mark Jackson's talent, the ability to draw the attention, meaning more than one defender, and then hit the open man. So important to the Knicks attack.
Michael Williams charged with that foul. Timeout has been called.
A bud? Obviously, we thought alike.
Oh, let's go. As a new band, but in the 12 years they've now been together, they've consistently reinvented their sound, so you can still say they make new music. At number 3, here's a great song, Mysterious Ways.
That's one thing that you really need. If you give it 100% every day, you're going to come out on top.
If you want it bad enough, and you're willing to make the sacrifices to get there.
Stay in school. It's your best move.
The Knicks are back home to take on the Chicago Bulls after Sports Desk and Game Night. Tomorrow at 7 here on MSG Network. Anthony for Jones looking, bobbles the ball, stops, gets the fake, and he hits it.
The Harlem Globetrotters are returning to the Garden Saturday, February 22nd at 1 p.m. Don't miss the Magicians of Basketball and their hard-court antics and comedy stunts that make them America's most loved athletes. See the Magicians of Basketball, the Harlem Globetrotters. Tickets available at the Garden box office and all Ticketmaster locations. To charge, call 212-307-7171. The Harlem Globetrotters are brought to you by Bounce and Cheer. That was the Pacers representative at the NBA All-Star Weekend. Their lone representative, Boomer the Pacer Panther.
I know one of your favorites, John.
They were all there, Marv. Coming down from the ceiling, hanging off high wires.
Patrick Ewing, 13 for 17 from the foul line. He's the high scorer in the game with 29. The Knicks lead it by 4. 5:07 remaining in the 4th quarter. Knicks trailing by as many as 11 early in the 3rd, able to turn it around. And Hugh Evans with the call to get away from the ball. It's on Mason, his second.
Knicks needing defense as usual, and Pat Riley sticking with Anthony Mason. That's what he does so well. Anthony getting a lot of minutes now when this game is on the line. He hasn't shown up a lot statistically, but it's his defensive intensity that Riley recognizes.
Knicks over the limit with that foul. Reggie Miller missed the technical a moment ago. Now 3 out of 4 from the line. The Knicks lead 93-89. Reggie Miller averaging over 23 per game against the Knicks this season. In the previous 3, there's some pressure being shown by Indiana. It's Mason able to move it down. Ewing with the fake and the bucket, putting a gorgeous move on Dreiling. Knicks 95 and the Pacers 90. 32 points for Patrick Ewing. 4.5 remaining in this 4th quarter.
Ewing showed the good hands. That ball looked like it might have gotten away from him, but he grasped it so with 2.
Riley switching off. Now Strep guarding Ewing. Shot clock at 4. It will be Pacer ball.
John Starks disagreeing vehemently that the ball went out off the Pacers. Couldn't make the sell.
And the foul call. Ewing came over to help out. Charles Oakley getting set to come back on. Except for an update, let's go to Bob Hay.
Marv at Philadelphia, fourth quarter. Nets go on a nifty 14-1 run. Derek Coleman to Tate George. He misses the layup, but Sam Bowie slams home 2 of his 22. The Nets' latest losing streak ends at 8. Back to you.
Thank you, Bob. Detlef Schrempf, after hitting his first 5 from the line, misfired. Detlef Schrempf, the Indiana hero last night on the victory in Orlando. 26 points, career high, 23 rebounds at the game-winning shot. Knicks lead 95-91. Indiana staying with some pressure. Jackson and Starks now in the backcourt. Ewing, Oakley, and Mason up front. Here's Ewing. And rebounded by Person. Down to 3.5 to go in the fourth. Oakley and Schrempf battling for position.
Schrempf's the man for this team in closing moments, as he demonstrated last night. The Pacers are clearly going to him now.
Foul called on Oakley. That is 4 on Charles.
What haunts the Pacers, though, is their record this season in close games. Games settled by 6 points or less. They have lost 13 times. Look at this matchup now with Oakley and Schrempf going at it. Schrempf drawing the foul.
Detlef Schrempf 7 for 8 from the line. Indiana now down by 3. Detlef Schrempf, a product of West Germany, in his 7th NBA season out of the University of Washington. Knicks lead is now 2. Ewing. So Patrick Ewing will have 2 more.
Well, this crowd feels Ewing committed an offensive foul. Patrick adjusted, though, at the last moment and drew the foul. Ewing going one-on-one. And had Dreiling held his position and not given, he might have been more successful defensively.
Patrick Ewing is now 15 for 19 from the foul line. He has 33 points. That foul was number 4 committed by Dreiling, who has gotten most of the playing time. Smith's sitting down with 4 fouls. The Knicks 96, Indiana 93 as we come up on 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Michael Williams for Greg Dreiling lost it.
Oh, what a break for the Knicks. Williams sailed around Mark Jackson and looked like an easy layup for the Pacers. Knicks have got to help Jackson out. Williams is the leader for the Pacers, and he's quick.
So the Knicks with the ball and a 3-point lead. Jackson with the open shot. Mark Jackson with a clutch jumper. The Knicks lead 98-93. 2.5 remaining in the fourth. Here's Williams. Knicks by 3. That's time remaining in this fourth quarter, down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Ewing was a drop step, did not have the move. Jackson, with the shot clock running down, he's able to get to the rebound and finds Ewing, who's hammered by Person. And Patrick Ewing did not like that foul.
It looked like he got verbal against Person, who's known for his verbal play on the court and is talking, but he was quiet. He was silent. Jackson finds Ewing, sets him up. Ewing wants to stuff. He wants to go inside. Patrick's saying a lot to Person, who does a lot of listening.
Ewing is 15 for 20 from the foul line. 34 points for Patrick Ewing.
I don't think there's any question that Ewing is into it. He is really hot to play out there.
17 for 22 from the line for Ewing. And the Knicks lead 100-95, just under 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Good finish here at Market Square. Person and Ewing with the rebound.
You know, it surprises me as to why the Pacers don't isolate Williams one-on-one with Mark Jackson and let him drive.
So with 1:46 to go in the fourth quarter, a timeout is called by the Knicks.
A 4-1 lead as Graves continues his superb play.
And Kurt McLean is not having one of his better nights. You think he should have had
National sports news and highlights right here on the MSG Network, the best in the game. Patrick Ewing has gone to the line 22 times. That is a season high. He's hit 17 free throws. That a season high. 22nd timeout is called by Anthony Mason. He could not find anyone to inbound and did not want to risk the 5-second violation. This program is authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated is prohibited. A look at the foul rundown. 4 apiece on Vandeweghe and Oakley. Thompson with 5. 4 on Smits, Dreiling, Person, and Miller. Chuck Person got in the early foul difficulty. Picked up 3 in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Knicks in perfect position now to massage the 24 seconds before they take the shot. Use as much time as possible. 1.5 minutes to go.
Ewing, rebound Mason. Anthony Mason converting with 1.5 minutes remaining. In the fourth quarter, Indiana takes a 20. The Knicks now lead 102-95.
Well, again, the Indiana Pacers are haunted by their record in close games. They have not done well. Knicks getting big play now. Ewing on the shot. Mason comes into the picture, though, not boxed out. And he finishes the play, giving the Knicks a 7-point lead. Ewing with the good shot in close. But Anthony Mason saves the day. He got position on the taller Detlef Schrempf. And Pat Riley has stuck with Anthony Mason for most of this fourth quarter. Mason has not been a statistics player for the Knicks tonight, but he has been a big player once again.
Anthony Mason, 4 points, but 7 rebounds. Big man off the boards. Ewing with 13 rebounds. Oakley with 10. Person looking for the 3, passed it up. Miller from downtown. And a loose ball foul call as Dreiling hits the floor. Don Oakley, 1:18 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Knicks lead by 7. And Trent will go to the foul line. He's 9 for 10. Make that 8 for 9 from the line. He's the high man for Indiana with 22 points.
See, unlike the Knicks in closing moments of a game when they need points, the Pacers go to an outside game. Last night it was Reggie Miller and Chuck Person who hit dramatic 3-point shots in the closing minutes and setting up the play for the final winning shot by Detlef Schrempf. The Knicks, on the other hand, when they need points, go inside to Patrick Ewing.
So the Knicks now lead 102-96. And the Knicks able to avoid the Indiana pressure. Here's Mason. Fouled by Person.
Nice look by Starks. He patiently waited to find the right man.
And an exchange of words between Anthony Mason and Chuck Person, and this time Patrick Ewing, who had some verbal warfare just moments ago with Person, played the role of the peacemaking.
Boy, the Knicks turned around from the opening minutes of the third quarter when they were flat. They have fought back into it. Pat Riley did a lot of manipulating with his lineup, and he got the right combination. And John Starks has been major in the second half.
Knicks lead 103-96. Both clubs have 2 timeouts remaining. A minute to go in the fourth. Miller again with a 3-point attempt. And he's claiming it was touched by Starks on a deflection, and he will get that call. It will be Indiana ball. Well, Starks got a piece of it. But first, the Pacers take a timeout. Nielsen, I'm sure.
And all clear starboard.
Position.
I am defending capitalism. I am a capitalist.
I know. Look, this brings up, this is one of these touchy things. As you brought up, very good point. Michael Jordan sold $200 million worth of goods for Nike last year. I'll bet
and
that...
got 10% of that himself.
Let me think. I bet Brad Sellers sold zero amount. Now, you name 89 NBA players.
There's only 5.
So there's not going to be much interest in those other products. Oh. And Isaiah Thomas and Michael, do they get along?
They do.
No, they don't get along at all. They had to stand next to each other at the All-Star game, and that's as close as they ever get. But Isaiah has a very good point. Where does solidarity end, and where does sheer greed that is allowed through our capitalistic laws take over? And you know who's behind all of Pro Serve? He's Jordan's guy. He's become the #1. He's Ewing's guy.
And hasn't he split off with his parent company?
I don't know. He is a person who is like one of the old classic robber baron capitalists. He's going to push everything as far as he can. He's going to get every penny he can. He's the guy that had Ewing. Remember when Ewing was dangled out from the Knicks and he wasn't going to accept the $5 trillion?
The anonymous players in the NBA ought to get down on their knees and thank Michael Jordan, because 85 cents out of every buck they make is due to the Jordans and the Birds and the Magic Johnsons who took the game and popularized.
Would you buy a Craig Hodges shirt or a Jim Les?
Now, wait a minute. Those were the great three-point shooters.
You know, I used to play with Les all the time over
in Peoria.
Here at the multiplex.
Okay.
And he played on that Bradley team that almost went undefeated. They were 31 and 32 and
to go in the fourth, and Michael Williams gives the foul. Indiana is over the limit.
Well, the Pacers are 70 this season. Chuck Person 76. Shrimp not as many, only 15 now, and even McLeod shoots them fairly well. And that's what they're doing now. They are going to the long-range bombing.
John Starks extends to a 104-99. Nick Lee. Starks making his first appearances at the line. Gerald Wilkins being waved in. So Gerald will come on for Charles Oakley. And Charles, big factor tonight with terrific work off the boards. 10 rebounds for Oakley. .45 seconds to go in the fourth. Knicks lead by 5.
Very dangerous with this team of three-point shooters now.
And here's Person from downtown. And the foul called. It's on Shrimp. So the Knicks will walk to the line with 32 seconds to go. Pat Riley and his Knicks will fly back following tonight's game, and they will face the Chicago Bulls at Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. And as Pat likes to put it, we will hear the buzz at the Garden. A good sound with Michael Jordan and the Bulls in town.
I spoke to Jordan briefly on Saturday at the East-West practice, and he gave us a good comment about Pat Riley's talking a lot of trash about the Knicks.
Oh, really?
I think Michael invented it, but Patrick Ewing, rather. Patrick Ewing. And we'll play that tomorrow to cite the Knicks before the game, although they won't need it, I'm sure.
The Knicks now lead 106-99. Timeout is called by the Pacers.
Lume going back for it. Turcotte bearing down on him.
The Knicks also on their way to making it 5 straight wins on the road, and they will go 13-11 on the road. And Oh, they got off to that bad start on the road, but they will go 13-11 with a victory here tonight. High point men for the Knicks. Patrick Ewing with 35. 9 for 20 from the field. 17 for 22 from the free throw line.
Pacers have scored 41 points in the second half after 58 in the first half. Knicks defense obviously stepped it up in a major way.
Out of 20 seconds, Michael Williams. And the Knicks now lead 107 to 101. And the foul given by Miller. They'll send Starks to the foul line. Well, Dennis Daggett. Patrick Ewing has established a new career high for free throw attempts by going 17 for 22 from the foul line. On 4 occasions, he did go to the line 20 times. And his high for free throws made 18, so one short of that. 17 for 22 from the line. Schrempf stepped out. What a careful listener he is.
Fordham guy, top notch.
Oh, really?
Just like John Cirillo.
Another Ram, yes.
Another Ram. Knicks organization filled with Rams. All bright, sharp, with it people.
Most of them are. And our Evian player of the game, Patrick Ewing. Their point total is a fantasy, though, I would have to say. Ewing with 35 points, not 45. 17 seconds remaining. Apparently a Fordham man on the traffic controls.
No, Marv. Syracuse.
So 35 points, 13 rebounds for Patrick Ewing. And the Knicks now lead 111-101 as this one winds down. Pacers will drop to a record of 20 and 30. And they had come in winners of 5 of the last 6. Person with a 3. Person again. It counts. So the final score, the Knicks 111 and the Pacers 104. So the Knicks have won 3 out of 4 this season against Indiana. For the moment, they are 3 games in front of the second place Boston Celtics.
Sports desk.
To the last 9, 9 of the last 11. An impressive come from behind victory as they go to 31 and 16.
There are one. Canucks will play at the Meadowlands against the Devils tomorrow night. Rangers will play Friday night against the Islanders here at Madison Square Garden. We'll be on the air with Sports Desk at 7 o'clock. Game night immediately following, and then the Rangers and the Islanders. Hope you'll join us. Cleared out by
back at Market Square Arena, Indianapolis, Indiana. The Knicks have defeated the Pacers by the score of 111 to 104. Patrick Ewing led the way with 35 points. Did most of his damage from the foul line. This one of his 9 field goals. He was 9 for 20 from the field, 17 for 22 from the line. A look at the high scores. Ewing with 35. John Starks with a good one off the bench. He had 21 points. Some big buckets in the third quarter to help the Knicks get back into it after they trailed by as many as 11. Xavier McDaniel with a hot hand early, finished with 13. Mark Jackson had 12. For the Pacers, Detlef Schrempf once again off the bench for his 26. 8 for 12 from the field and 9 out of 11 from the line. Reggie Miller with 17. LaSalle Thompson with 16 points. He hit 8 of 12. And Chuck Person in early foul trouble managed only 13. So led by John Starks and Patrick Ewing, the Knicks make it 3 out of 4 this season over Indiana.
People who want to write sports for us don't give up easily.
You again. Most points in a game, Knicks.
60, Bernard King.
What was the president's batting average at Yale?
251.
First home run, New York Mets.
Gil Hodges.
How many people at the first Super Bowl?
61,946.
What were their names?
Names?
To keep up with sports in New York, keep up with the times. Imagine.
Punting in 15:36, and the Canucks will try for the 6th time on the power play.
Rangers almost seem to go on certain situations. It's like they go man on man when an opponent is coming in and circling. And it was all Nedved and Patrick, and then Gillen jumped on Linden and eventually hooked him behind the net. But Nedved was trying to set up down low, and he couldn't really get anything going. James Patrick was all over him.
Canucks 0 for 5 on the power play, and giving up one shorthanded goal. Linden putting it in front, blocked by Leach. Turcotte turns, fires it away. Broughton tied up with Lidster. Taken back by Momesso. Momesso, Linden, and Ronning. Feed to Ronning. He shoots, save, and Beesbrook. And it went through. They thought it went in, and a whistle stopped play. It went through Van Beesbrook. Razor blows the whistle. He's pointing for a face-off here.
I think he thought Van Beesbrook had it trapped between his pads, Sam, and it trickled through behind him, and the Rangers were clearing it. I think the Rangers wanted the puck out of the zone, saying it wasn't. A well-executed play. Linden gives it to Ronning, who's on the off wing, and he leans into the shot. Now Van Beesbrook gets down. Oh, now that's pretty close, and just a good play by Boom to get it out, and he does shoot it out of the zone. Now, the puck was never smothered. However, here's what the referee sees. Now, he thinks, look at Van Beesbrook. Usually when a goaltender has that, he's got it trapped between his pads, and I think Fraser blew his whistle. Boom did prevent it.
In his team. Yes, the physical play, as you mentioned, began early with LaSalle Thompson and Xavier McDaniel involved, and it continued with Patrick Ewing getting involved in some talk with Chuck Person, but fortunately that was broken up. A good effort by the Knicks. They came from behind, down by as many as 11, and they beat the Pacers 1